Hi, my name is Lpoteathalley. Welcome to my channel. I'm known as the Joy Catcher here on YouTube, but as you can see from the title, I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be highly sensitive. And this is still kind of new to me, but I would really suggest that you do your research in this, and if you find you or someone you love, someone maybe even you're raising, that is maybe like me, like what I'm going to try to describe, maybe because it's not a condition or a disorder, but the life skills, really, it would be helpful to receive counseling, because we focus mostly on feelings, and it's in our DNA. Please excuse me, I had oral surgery just 2 weeks ago and I'm still recovering. But part of me really didn't want to do this. And you know what? I've tried several times to try to get this together and it hasn't been working. But there's a feeling that I wouldn't go away, that I should share. And so after seeing my niece post on Facebook, very public, heartwarming, and very genuine, heartfelt message about what it was like to live with anxiety and depression, and to feel like you're alone. Sometimes with this personality, that could happen. You could feel alone because you're seeing everyone else function in a very different way, and you're thinking, what's wrong with me? How come I'm not enjoying the restaurant? How come I don't want a whole bunch of friends? Why am I okay with being alone? Why do I want to leave the party earlier than be the first person to leave the party? But there's nothing to be fixed. And I wanted to thank my niece, Caitlin, thank you for sharing that testimony with us, because it gave me the courage to try to explain what it's like. We're highly aware. We can walk into a room and see things that maybe others don't pick up, tiny, subtle things. And since our focus is always on becoming rather than being, we're always trying to think of the future. We're very future, what's going to be the best outcome. And usually we're pretty curious. So as a child, if you're in an environment that is chaotic or confusing or different, we like our routines, that safety, that security seems to be gone. And so you act out. If you can't verbalize things, you may bite, you may throw a fit in the supermarket, you may not like the clothes that you're wearing, because you have to remember everything. Your DNA is different. All of our senses work overtime. They're extra. Some people have, I've heard someone say, people have screens and windows. We don't have that. It's wide open. So when we feel and love, we do deeply, everything deeply. But some of us don't grow emotionally as we mature intellectually. It happens with everyone. No one's perfect, and perfection just doesn't exist. We all have our flaws, we all have our strengths, but we just work differently. Our primary function is our intuition. I've worked very hard that when I get a feeling, I try to, instead of feeling offended or whatever, I work very hard to figure out why. Where's it coming from? What's really going on? Is the person that's saying this, that's offending me, is it true what they're saying? Why do I care? Do they really know me? If it's true and they know me well and I feel offended, I try to work on it. I'm human. Sometimes we don't even know that we're doing something wrong, and others may see it and there's no direct, hey, we like directness. We want to know I want to know everything. Everyone's going to be different, and their passions will be different, but so that's very important to remember. To have a creative outlet. We like the arts, so maybe if you find that your child may be sensitive, I would really suggest you get professional help. Like I said, they're not broken. It's not a condition or disorder, but they need the skills that they're good at, because the world is not, may not feel safe for them. And sometimes we have trust issues because we see past what people are trying to show us, if that makes any sense at all. It can be a good thing, and I used to think that it was a curse because I would sense things that people weren't telling me the truth, or something was different, because I pick up on a lot of subtleties. So I'm like, why all of a sudden is their pattern of behavior? Why has it changed? I can pick up on that, and so it can be disheartening when you find out that something that you believed and tried to not see later down the road, you were right. And sometimes we're wrong. Every one of us has our weaknesses and our strengths. And if we choose to think of this as a gift, we won't turn to substances or people for comfort. Often, people that are like me end up in prisons. Sometimes. So you think that they put on this tough exterior, and they want to let people know that they're not what the world thinks is strong, and what maybe someone may consider a weakness. But we are not followers. I'm not a follower. And I think that we should maybe start thinking more about using our intuition, being empathetic, and thinking and valuing other things more. Not things, but people. I don't see money as evil. I see money as paper. I see money as the needs to what we need. I can buy, but it's for things that are going to that I'm going to need to survive, that will create joy in my life, and not for getting attention, not for filling an empty void that could never be. If you're going to use money to fill a void, to buy happiness, happiness is fleeting. I can buy a boat. It's the memories that you make on the boat that are going to matter most. It's not even what we leave behind. It's how we've lived that's going to matter the most. And so people that rely on money or their looks or their power, their status, I see past that. I see the person. And that's a good thing, because people are not perfect. I believe that Heavenly Father is perfect, and that He's the only one that's going to be the judge at the end. But I try to avoid the things that are going to bring harm into my life. I didn't used to do that. Instead, I would turn to substances to numb things and to pretend that I'm fitting in and I can function. And then you do a lot of hurting. And it's very selfish behaviors. And so you have to think and reflect and do a lot of self-reflection and say, is this working for me? I'm hurting people around me, being selfish, trying to feed in my ego, or why am I doing these things? To fit in, to try to belong because I think I'm broken. You're not broken. You're enough. I want people to know that. If you are highly sensitive, you just function in a different way. You can't change your DNA. And sometimes we do need to go to a professional for anxiety and depression medication, and that's no one's business. But if you have to do that, you know what? No one else knows what you're going through. And in order to function, you don't want to turn to other harmful things or people that are going to bring you pain. In the long run, it's going to be hard, but in the end, it's going to be worth it, and you're going to be wishing you had done so a long time ago, because there could be ripple effects from what you do with the feelings that you have. It matters. What you say matters, and it's very important to keep a level head. We don't like conflict and drama and gossip. We feel it's very harmful, and you should go to the person directly. We want to know. We're very curious people, but when we hear that from someone that, especially some of the things that we hear, just how do they even know? Why? What's their motive? Why are they spreading this? Why? Why can't they come to me and try to figure it out? Well, it's fear. Their fear of the hurting feelings, maybe. They have insecurities of their own, and everyone has their own pain and their own flaws. So before you get offended or anything like that, it's important to reflect and say, why does this matter? Do they even know me? What's their motive? Do they want me to, if they bring up your past, do they want that to go out into the world? I think sometimes we don't think about the ripple effects we can have on someone, and one day it'll come knocking on your door. I don't work in that way. I always try to think of the future and how is it going to affect other people. And so when someone comes to me and they must want to have an honest opinion, it may not, the words that I say may hurt, because I want them to better their lives and to make wise decisions, live long, happy lives, make good choices. But you can't control people. And when you want to manipulate and control people, that's wrong. You can't do that. It's a very selfish thing. We know the world doesn't revolve around us. You need to try to step in other people's shoes and try to figure out and compromise, and be a little more empathetic of others' needs. But not everyone's going to be as self-aware, because they don't want to see that they have to change. And not everyone, we assume that people want to change, but some people, it takes time. I see people like me, like I said, in prison, because they, instead of getting and being okay with themselves and knowing that, and seeing all these things, and they want to numb it. And so they forget that when you do that, you also can't feel that joy. You can't feel all those things that bring you gratification, the real joy and happiness that's not going to leave you. So that when the storms come, you will be able to weather the storm with your roots deeply planted, but kind of able to be open-minded at the same time, and have things that are really big and heavy. You can get through it, and this can be a gift, and people will want to have you around that are honest, that like to see it done right. And so we pick up flaws and things and subtleties that some people may not see. And if you want to do a job right, you're going to want that kind of person with you. But if you are trying to manipulate and control and be dishonest, that can really be a fear. Fear is different than being afraid or scared, feeling scared. Fear stops you from progression. It stops you from the truth and happiness and real joy. Happiness is fleeting, but life is like, you're going to have changes. So it's going to be important to know that you have a purpose. I believe everyone has a purpose. If if you're alive, you have a purpose. And I think you can have many purposes, and it may change according to your life circumstances. You grow older, your kids don't need you as much anymore. Your purpose in life will change. But for me, it's exciting because I'm not doing those things that were keeping me back, to just try to fit in and fill a void. And I worked on those, and it's not anyone's fault. And I'm really sorry if people think that this is being directed towards them. I'm being, in general, if you think this is personal, I'm sorry, but we like to be alone, and we keep our friends that are really closest to us very close. So when I share something and feel safe enough to share, that's a big deal, because I don't trust much. And if I feel safe, I can go on and on and on, especially if it's about something that I'm passionate about, which for me is true crime, which people like me they don't like violence and conflict. They try to keep things peaceful and be open-minded and think of the future. Is this going to be worth it? Because everything comes at a price. Opening myself up like this, it comes at a price. But when I see people depressed and thinking that they have to live that way, I don't want them to think that way. I'm not going to be around one day. My children will be, and their children. And I don't want to bring anything back to the world and bring into the world something that I don't like. So I'm really working hard to strive to do better. And no one's perfect. And I want you to see in your own children these traits, because if you see them, you can encourage them in their way. They may not want to do sports and things like that all American things to fit in. They may like music, being creative, dancing, singing, drama, there's so many different avenues to be artistic. Let them do that. Don't try to manipulate them so that they will fit into the world, and so that they will be able to be loved and feel accepted. Because what happens, they will seek it through the internet, posting pictures of themselves, trying to get those likes. It's really sad, because that's not going to bring them joy. They will feel very empty if they rely on others for acceptance. Just to be genuine and honest, just to be kind to others. Those are the things that I look for in other people, how hardworking they are. So I see past all the outside and look at the heart. What are their motives? And I try not to, when I hear gossip, we walk the other way. We don't spread it, because we don't even know what that person is going through or what it took for them to get there. I don't know what the other person's story is. And if it's really important, you go to that source always. Some things are petty, and you have to think, is that person talking about them because they're jealous or they're trying to manipulate and get attention? Like I said, with money, it's needed to buy things that you need to survive. That'll make your future better. But it's not going to bring you true joy. Anything that comes outward, if you have to seek it through another person and use them, you're going to be left really empty. And then you hurt others along the way. And it takes a lot to come back from that, knowing that you hurt someone and it could have been avoided. So while it's not to be a jerk, it's important not to let those things in your life that are going to affect you that way, so you don't get triggered into doing those wrong things, because it's going to stop you from feeling all those good things and happiness and having a clear mind and intellect, so that you can learn and grow and not be stunted. Don't limit yourself. This is not a weakness, this is strength. to protect you. I sometimes don't find out why I feel about the way about someone until years later, and I connect dots and see the patterns of it. And I dodged a bullet. It can save you a lot of heartache. And it's not voodoo, it's not witchcraft, it's not magic. It's not something I can control. And the curse side is knowing what their motives are, if they're being honest. And that's why I have such very good friends. But I like people, and I appreciate them for who they are. So when people make mistakes, I don't take them, label them, and put them in a box and say, well, if that person is from that religion or that career, then those people that do that are in that profession must be corrupt or must be evil, must want to display their power, must have insecurities. It doesn't make sense to me. You have to see through that and cut to the person who is doing the manipulating and having power, and don't put blame on anyone else. That's their insecurity, and they need to accept accountability. They look for weaknesses. People that want to manipulate others will try to see kindness in other people and try to manipulate them. And that's why it's so important to set boundaries and to realize that you're worth more. You don't need to be abused. In today's world, another good way to abuse someone and to be powerful is to ignore them. Pretend like they never even existed. Don't respond to them. Ghost them is what they say. Ghost them. That's so easy to do, but it stems from fear. That's what I believe. A fear of how the other person's going to respond when you don't agree with each other, when there's conflict. And like I said, with maturity and intellect doesn't mean that emotionally that they are able to do that, or they don't have the instincts to know how to say things. But I try, and I don't even try. I try to put myself in other people's shoes. It just happens, and I feel deeply for people when I see them being bullied, when I see someone is just trying to show how intellectual they are, to show their credentials. Those things are great. If you're hardworking, and you deserve those awards. But you leave this world with how you lived and not those things. So what you do with them and bring to the world and share your gifts and talents with everyone, thank you. But it comes from the heart that, I don't know. I'm not going to respect you or care about you more because you are of your credentials and your IQ, how much money you make. That's not why. So when people want to feed their egos, that's another reason why I have a hard time keeping friends. But everyone wants to do that and feel acceptance and love and understood. So when you have a small child, please look for that and let them set boundaries. You don't want them to be forced to fit in. You want them to find their own strengths, because they can do so much good in the world. But they can also go out if they don't have those skills. You're not going to be around all the time. I'm not going to be around. They're going to have to live without us. And you want them to have a good life and not spread things to the world that are going to be very painful to someone someday. So it's going to be very hard sometimes I don't try to, but it's like a mirror. And I don't think people like to see that sometimes when they want to manipulate and have power. It scares people. And that's okay, because you don't want those people in your life. That's a good way to keep that out. You want to have peace and balance so that you can take your life and your choice of what you want to do in the future, make a plan and do it. And if you are being manipulated and in that situation by someone, make a plan do what you can to get out. There are people in this world that don't have the best motives for us, don't want to see us shine, don't want to empower us, because then their power is gone. And I think that's really sad that people do that to the point where they think that they have to take them out of existence. I try to be very open-minded, but I do love true crime, but I'm very balanced, and my life is not about true crime. I do other things to educate myself, and music and dance and a lot of things, that writing a lot. It helps me. And when I see the potential in others, I want to encourage them to keep going. Don't give up, and you will find your way. Have faith in yourself that you are not broken, and use this as a gift to help you and protect you, and nobody has to even understand it. I know that you're not crazy or paranoid. You're not broken. And I love you. Caitlin, thank you so much. It's my niece, Caitlin. I have to say again, thank you for your testimony that you gave. And you are worth it. You keep doing what you can. To know that you are enough. You are enough. Don't try to compare yourself to others. You know what matters most. You're a great example to me. I've had a lot of great examples, and I want to thank them right now. You know, my siblings are my best friends, and I want to thank them because they've been a part of this process with me, having to talk to the doctor, and I love them very much. And so I'm gonna try to end this because I hope I made sense to people, and I know I've made so many mistakes, and I don't want others to have to go through those things and waste time. I'll be 48 this year, and I've wasted so much time, and I'm just getting started. I have so much more I want to do and go, and I've got a plan. I really do, but I'm really quiet. So I do this and try to be independent as possible, just as much as I can by myself. But I do try to go to those who know more, the people that know how to do things that I don't know how to do. They have more skills. They have more knowledge, and I appreciate them because they do jobs that we are not willing or cannot do for one reason or another. All those people that do those things for you out in the world, law enforcement, doctors, EMT, all those things, garbage men, the person that changes your tire, that groceries your bags at the grocery store. I'm sorry. Those hardworking people, every single one of them, I don't love them any less or more because of their credentials or how much money they make. So just please try to live with kindness and follow your intuition and that spirit, and keep praying. Do self-reflection. Be alone with nothing around you, and be real with yourself. It might hurt at the beginning to get off those things and to disconnect from those things, but it'll be worth it, and you're going to wish that you did a long time ago. So I hope I didn't come off too unbalanced or emotional, and that you could understand me through all this. Thank you so much for your time. I know this might have been a little bit long, but I hope you all are well and stay healthy, that you could maybe treat others with a little kindness and stop and not rush so much. Think about what you're doing to other people, and love yourself enough to know that you are enough. You have a good day, and thank you for your time. Bye.